Good evening, everyone, and welcome to World Online Racing with a PS Tier 2 for round 12, the Japanese Grand Prix, getting into qualifying right about now. We're already down to just about 14 minutes still left in the session. Just getting our first lap time from Roger at the moment of 129.7, and I think Fury is about to get across the line here, so he should be putting our time in as well in the Aston Martin. Let's see, he goes fastest now, 129.2. A few tenths faster, so doing well so far. Chico there in third at 136, not the best of lap. Quite sure he will try to improve on that in the remainder of the session. Rafael here, I think he's on a lap. Is he? We got yellow flag situation going on there, but I think that's been cleared. I think we're back to green again on track, and I think he's just invalidated that lap there as well. I think might have just went a bit too much on the curb and just caused that lap to go off. So he's gonna have to try that lap again. Hopefully gets a better lap in. Tesla in the Mercedes, so he's not currently on a lap still as well. I think getting through sector 1, still about to get into sector 2. And the lap times, of course, switching the order are wrong. Noah now currently fastest in the session on provisional pole, of course, 128.9. First driver into the 128s here on a track. Aquila now second fastest. Fury is down to third. Casper currently fourth, and Roger all the way down to fifth. Easy F1 in 6th now, and Chico down to 7th, of course, for that time. So we're getting a bit faster as we get through the session. Still quite a lot of time left, a decent amount of time for a short qualifying session actually going through. So we'll see where the guys are going to be at the end of the session there. And my apologies to SR Ace, I didn't realize he was supposed to be joining me for commentary, and we're actually not quite set up in the way to have him join on, or one of our audio would not have come through on stream. So just with the risk of not having that happen, we're just going to leave it with just me on this session. We can have him on for the next one, of course. I didn't actually set it up that way, so we're going to have to let it be at the moment as it is for now. Either way, so 14 drivers in the qualifying session here at the moment, on the comparison on an out lap, so we'll see where his lap time is going to be. I think he's getting out in the session maybe a bit late, or did he try another lap but didn't actually get a lap time in. Either way, we'll see when he's going to be on track at the end of this. So Damage, of course, now fastest in the session. Of course, that is now provisional pole for him. Noah currently second fastest, Aquila third, got Fury fourth. Charno currently 5th, the McLaren's 5th and 6th at the moment, so of course keeping together here on track. Not too bad in terms of teammates that close off, just separated by about 2 tenths from each other's lap time, so pretty good. Leon currently now 7th, Dutch Roger in 8th, Easy F1 9th now, and GDC Chico currently 10th, still with that 136, gonna have to improve that as much as he can. We got Rafael, Caparson, and Danko on laps there at the moment. Out laps actually, so we'll see when the qualifying lap times come in what it's going to be and how it is actually going to be there. Sorry, but I gotta just make sure everything is good on our streams then with the missions we've been having over the past few weeks, but it seems to be good so far. Seems to be good so far going on through. Just keeping on the qualifying, see how this is, of course, gonna end off. Less than 10 minutes, of course, now remaining here for the short qualifying session here at Japan for this preparation for this race session. 128.905, so 500 of a second faster. It's Damage over Noah right now for provisional pole. Let's see if Damage can hold it on through in that position there. Rafael on a lap there, I believe. Caparson on a lap here in the Aston Martin. Let's see what he can do. Fury, his teammate, currently 4th fastest on the grid here for qualifying. Let's see where Caparson can put that car. Should be getting a pretty good lap, hopefully, at the end of this. Not sure if he got any proper sectors, but we'll have a look at that in just a sec, see how well that lap is currently going for him as he's finishing off the final sector here right about now. Looks like he's slid through the lap quite well. So hopefully he gets a pretty good lap in. one of the McLarens back out on track. That's Casper there, going to try to get a better lap in if he can. There goes Caparson, just ahead of his teammate now by only a tenth of a second, and he's up into P4. That puts Fury down to 5th now, of course. 129.2 for him. Caparson 129.1. Not too bad of a time. Where is, I think Raphael just got a time in, and he just got into P7, splitting the McLarens there at the moment. So 129.3 for him. Only a 10 between the two of them, back and forth. So let's see how that goes on through. Danko there trying to get on a lap here right now. His teammate Raphael currently 7th on the grid. Let's see where the next Red Bull driver can put his car for qualifying. Looks like that's a purple sector 2. Looks like a pretty good lap, or a decently good lap even so far as he gets through it. Sector 3 should finish off this final turn in just a second, getting across the line on the main straight. Let's see where he goes. Damage currently on provisional pole, back on an out lap right now. He's going to try to get a faster lap in. Danko currently just below his teammate by a tenth. So getting interesting on track here for the in preparation for the Japanese Grand Prix. We got teammates, of course, closing their times on each other. The Red Bull guys separated by a tenth there, and of course we had the McLarens were separated by a tenth as well. Now split up just bit by the Red Bulls, who are now in between that. Dutch Roger 10th, 129.5. Leon on an out lap. We got Jeslo trying to get a lap in there right now. Damage getting on an out lap. So let's see where his time is going to be if he does improve upon that lap time that he has. Of course, we know he is on provisional pole, but at least that's for the moment. We could have that change. We still got just under 7.5 minutes, of course, remaining here for the qualifying session. Just enough time to actually have someone beat that lap time that he currently has. So we'll see how the case is gonna, what the case is gonna happen with that there. So 128.905, no 128.950. Just a very close gap, few hundred of a second. Got the Mercedes of Jesla coming around the final corner right now. Let's see where he goes as he gets across the line here. Does he get a good time in mid of the grid? Nope, it's 12 for him. 129.900. Maybe not the best of time, but he's gonna have to work his way through the grid if that's gonna be his best lap time here. We'll see what the case is gonna be. We still got time left in the qualifying session, of course. So should be able to put in a faster lap time in. Damage still holding on to that provisional pole time, of course, 129.9. I'm going to switch on to damage in a second here. Let's have a look at the Ferrari driver flying through sector 2 right about now. Let's see how he gets through this corner. Looks like he gets through pretty well. Gets back on the power as fast as he can here, getting back up to speed and through this lap. It could potentially be a faster lap time than a 128.9, which he would definitely be happy for at this point in time. Getting to where we are in the session, just under 6 minutes now. We still got enough time for drivers to get the lap times in, get a faster lap time in. Not sure what the weather condition for this race session is going to be as yet. I didn't have the chance to check the Discord to see if the guys mentioned it, but Japan always, I always say it, I would love to have some rain here. It always makes for an interesting race session. Even just a little bit of drizzle in the race, it could change things up quite a bit. So we'll see what's going to happen. I've done quite a few of the Japanese Grand Prix over the past week, and yep, a little rain does make things a bit more interesting. Damage gets an even faster lap, goes 4/10 faster than his previous time. He's up to a 128.557, and that definitely is going to hold on to provisional pole there for now. And a pretty decent time, I think a pretty difficult time to beat at this point. Why are we having this error again? Give me 1 second, guys. I'm not sure why we keep having that issue happen. But we're going to switch it back in a second. It always happens for at least one time during this qualifying. I'm not sure why. But I think I have an idea why. It'll be fixed before we get on to the next stream. Either way, fix the minor issues one by one as you get through this. Is the mic still on? Yeah, the mic is still on, so I can still talk to you guys as we do this. Unless I restart the console, doesn't happen. I have a few other drivers I've heard they have the same issue. I'm not sure why it happens, but it just does. Either way, we'll be back in less than 2 minutes. We'll be back on track with qualifying, and it's not going to happen during the race session, hopefully not. At least for the past few streams, it's happened during qualifying once, and then that's been it. But I think I know why it's happening, but I'll have it fixed in just a bit. I just wanted to confirm why exactly it was happening, and I think this just confirmed it. So either way, whatever the sort of true, we should be on be good for the entire race session. We got just about 5 minutes or so remaining in qualifying, so yeah, should be just enough time to get back on. We'll get the chance to see the end of qualifying, of course. I'm just going to turn that down for a second as I'm still talking with you guys as we get on through it. So I'm not able to see what's happening on track as yet, but yeah, damage on provisional pole there at the moment. I'm quite sure he's going to keep it for a while, unless someone can challenge him down at the end of the qualifying session for that. We'll see what the case is going to be. Alright, the console is back on. We're trying to get back in. Same invite. Thankfully, the same invite works. So I don't have to go and get a new invite from the guys to get back onto the lobby. It does work. I'm not sure why this whole issue is still an issue itself. Expected this to be fixed with the last update. It was partially fixed, I guess. I can say this was partially fixed because the major issue we had last week, that issue's been fixed. I'm not sure if it was fixed by the update or because of something I did here, because I did do something, but it was fixed. But I think this is the one last issue that we'll have to look into and just make sure that we can get it fixed. Where's oh, there you have it. Trying to figure out which one the invite was for WOR. I've got a few invites here for different leagues. I usually stream for today. Even though they know I'm busy, they always still send the invite. Not complaining, but anyway. Well, guys, hopefully we're not missing anything too much interesting. Oh, thank you, Raphael, for the extra invite. But the same invite works. Thankfully, I get back on with it. It's just, I'm not sure why I had to do a restart in the console. I was going to do one before I started the stream, but I've done it before, and it still happens during the qualifying session. I still have to do another restart during the session itself. Always go like that. If I just try to restart the game, it never works. You're never getting back on the lobby. It's going to be loading and loading forever. Just restart the console, and it gets back on so quickly. We're almost back in already. Should just be hitting spectate, and we should be back on track in less than 30 seconds. Oh, I'm so sorry, guys. This is so annoying. Honestly, it's like frustratingly annoying with the issues that keep happening. But it'll be good for the race session. Quite sure of it. Alright, there it goes. We're loading back in. Thankfully, we'll get to see the end of qualifying, and then, of course, the start of the race. It's me off quite a bit more if it actually happened at the start of the race. So thankfully it doesn't happen then. Right, let me just get back on the Streamlabs so I can just switch it on OBS to the live stream. Actually, let's just switch it back right now. I'll switch back, so we're getting back into it right now. As annoying as it is, we gotta just let it be. And welcome to all of you, of course, joining us here live on the stream. Good to have you guys on. There we go. Less than a minute left in qualifying. We barely made it in. Everyone's on their final run here at Japan right now for this qualifying session, guys. Everyone's on their final lap. So let's see how this is gonna go. Damage, of course, gonna get started on his final lap right now. Got a few drivers already on their final lap. I think Raphael is one of those drivers. Let's switch on to him. Thanks to him again for that extra invite to make sure I get back on the lobby. Aquila gets on his lap, Jester on a lap, Easy F1 on a lap there, everyone else on an out lap. This is going to be a heck of a finish to this qualifying. Let's see how the order changes up. Did Raphael get a time there, or is he now getting on another lap? I think he's now getting on another lap there. Either way, let's switch it around. Looks like Sharno and Noah out of the session, holding on to P2, P3. Aquila holding on to P4. Everyone's retiring off the session with the time that they currently have, I guess, or did they DNF? I think we had a few DNFs there in Sector 1. I'm seeing a bit of yellow flag situation there. And of course, qualifying is now over. Damage there. Still fastest in the session. We're still on a lap here. We got quite a few drivers who are still on a lap as well. So yeah, let's see if anything's gonna change as we get through the final few seconds of this qualifying here. And we're gonna keep it on damage for the moment. I want to see what's gonna happen. Caparison, of course, got up to second on the grid, so he's gonna be starting on the front row, provided someone else doesn't knock him out of that position. Let's see if that's gonna change. Down at the bottom of the grid, I see a few positions changing there. Easy up front, he's up into 12 now. Was up to 11, down up to 12 at the moment. Jesler up to 10th. The Chico's finish, his lap is 14th there at the moment. Fury finished as well. He's 4th on the grid. Damage across the line. Faster lap, 128.502. And that's provisional pole for him. Is anyone else still running on track? Raphael here in the Red Bull. Is he still on a fast lap? Is he out of fuel? Not sure what's happening. Danko still running a lap. He gets across the line. That's it for him. Dutch Roger here getting into the pit lane. So I think it's just Raphael running on the track here, and I'm not sure how fast of a lap he's running. He's gonna finish off the lap either way. I think he's out of fuel because he's stuck in 3rd gear, now in 4th. Probably out of fuel. Either way, who knows? He's across the line. I think that is it there, guys, for the qualifying session. Looks like it's gonna be damage on the front row alongside where it's gonna be Caparson just alongside him for 2nd. And Casper for 3rd. That's our top 3. We'll have a look at the starting grid order in just a bit as the results come on screen, of course, and then switch it to the track for the start of this Grand Prix. But yeah, definitely an interesting qualifying session. You can see some impressive lap times there from the guys. Okay, so here we go, qualifying results, and of course our starting grid order for the Japanese Grand Prix here at WOR PS Tier 2 for round 12 here. And it's going to be Damage starting on the front row. Just alongside him is going to be Caparson in the Aston Martin. Casper starts 3rd, Noah starting 4th, Fury starting 5th, Sharno in 6th, Aquila starts 7th, we got Raphael starting in 8th, Leon starts 9th, Danko starts 10th, Jensler starts 11th, Ozy F1 starts 12th, Dutch Roger in 13th, Chico there will start 14th on the grid, and I think that is it. 14 drivers in for the Japanese Grand Prix. We're going to head on to the racetrack. Let's see if we're having any rain in this session or not. So I'm still wondering about that. I see rain, and I'm so happy. I'm not sure the drivers are though. Let's see how the start is going to go on this one. This is going to be interesting. Called it, by the way. Alright, here we go, guys. The start of the Japanese Grand Prix. We got the Ferrari leading this into turn 1. Getting Aston Martin Caparson following him very close up behind the Aston Martin side by side with each other. About to get into that turn as well. We got one Aston Martin. That's Fury going just a bit wide off track. He gets back on. Everyone's on the intermediates, I believe, going on through for this here. It's an interesting start so far. Pretty clean as we got it going. Let's have a look along in the midfield. What's happening? Raphael here in 7. Pretty close up with the McLaren as he's trying to keep up with them. We got Alpine just behind of him. I think that's Aquila that's splitting the Red Bulls down there at the moment in the midfield, and it's going pretty well. I think for a wet start here for the Japanese Grand Prix, it's quite an interesting start. Pretty close out between everyone as you get on the opening lap. We're listening a few things on screen so we can have a look at that. It's going to be possibly raining through the entire session. I'm not sure until I think everyone's on the intermediates. Yep, everyone is on the intermediates and running. It's not heavy rain, but it is a bit of light rain. Did call it. Gotta say, I did call that one. They did expect. There goes the Red Bull on the inside. That is Raphael trying to get it wrong, I believe, on one of the McLarens. And he holds it on to P6. Cherno just behind of him there, trying to get back in position. Can he get it though? Out in front of top. Look what's happening with the lead right now as Caparson closes in on damage. Damage under pressure right now in the Ferrari. Got Noah in the Alfa Romeo, trying to keep that car on track there right about now. He went a bit wide off of it, but still kept it on going. He's doing pretty well so far. It's a trainer car through the entire grid, separated by just a few tenths here as we get on through this race. Out in front, it might be a pretty interesting chase for the lead. Caparson on it with it right about now, and he's ahead. He's just gotten ahead of Damage there, who's lost the lead now. He as we go into the second lap and get around back to the main straight. Can Damage get the position back into turn 1? Let's see how this is going to go. It's going to be quite an interesting running into turn 1 for lap 2. And of course, fastest lap at the one goes to Caparson as he's leading the Grand Prix. Of course, getting the Alfa Romeo of Noah coming down behind. He's trying to take it around the inside. Doesn't have enough room. Keeping it on the race line. Getting through. Trying to keep the car as stable as possible here. As it is very slippery on track. As the race just got started. Those tires are still trying to get up to temperature here for this race and getting on through. And looking pretty good so far. Still a few tenths between most of the drivers here. I think Danko just fell out of a second. He's got back into it as well, trying to keep it going. Noah here trying to follow on through with our top 2 drivers in the race there at the moment. Caparson up into the lead, started second, got that move away from Damage before the end of the first lap. There Ferrari, of course, going to try to get it back if he can. Let's see how it does go for him. Maybe a wet track not so much suited for the Ferrari as we might expect, but let's see what happens. Things could change as we get through the session here. But if we see Noah getting past Damage, definitely might tell us what's happening with that Ferrari there. Just maybe the setup is not suited for the conditions on track here. He might just be hoping that it dries out pretty soon. If not, it might lead to some problems for the Ferrari team and for the Ferrari driver there. There goes Noah going quite a bit wide. The McLaren coming so close behind of him. On board right now with Casper. It's about a half a second gap. When I switch it down further down the field, Raphael here, of course, was having a bit of a battle with Cherno earlier on. He's now ahead of the McLaren and going. Fury in front of him. Let's see what the order is at the moment. Looks like the rest of the grid a bit further back. Cherno under pressure right now. There goes the Alfa Romeo of Leon getting side by side with the Alpine of Aquila, and he gets by. Looks like he's up ahead into P8 there. Aquila is down to 9th now. Interesting battle from the two of them as we get into the next lap here. That's lap 3 of 27 now in the Japanese Grand Prix, and it definitely has been an interesting start. And I think everyone... Oh, there goes up. Almost lost the car there. We saw from Leon just drifting it a bit in the wet, and he caught it back. That was pretty good. And he's kept the position even going here. P9, not losing that. The Red Bull of Dangodo closes the gap in down to 2 tenths. He's going to have to be a bit careful here in terms of trying to keep that gap now. He's under a bit of pressure, and let's see how that's going to work for him. But definitely an interesting and close save for him. As we said before, it's still a bit slippery on track. You guys going to have to try to manage the grip level of the tires. There is Roger out of the session. What's happened to his car? There's his car at the side of the track there. Probably a self-inflicted incident. Might have had a bit of a slide off track. Is it a full safety car? We're trying to have a look right now. It might just be a full safety car for that. Or is it a VSC? I think it's a VSC actually. It is a virtual safety car. Sorry, not a full safety car. It's a virtual safety car for that incident. This is going to be over pretty quickly. Out in front, Damage loses a bit of time to Caparson in the lead. What's happening here? The Ferrari down by over 1.2 seconds. He's trying to gain back the time under the VSC right now. Has to be careful. Has to keep his distance here. Just keep into the speed range he needs to. Not to slow him by over 40%. So has to do that. Otherwise, he does get a penalty. Trying to close back the gap as much as he can here. Is going to be a bit affected by this. Let's go back into the midfield. We're going to see how the restart goes again after that VSC is over, which is going to be very, very shortly. By the time we get into lap 4, I'm assuming he should be over. This should easily be able to clear that car off the track. I think there's an exit section right there where it's off the track. So the marshals should not have too much trouble getting it off. 13 drivers now remain here in the Japanese Grand Prix here at WOR PS Tier 2. We're back racing again. No, we're not. Oh, it's not going to be back racing again. It's still going under the VSC, but it's still pushing as much as you can, trying to keep those gaps as close as you can, trying to keep the tires up to temperature. Chico gets a 3-second penalty. That's going to be for track limits, of course. And of course, it's going to affect him quite a bit. I think we're trying about to get back going here, just trying to see what's happening. I'm going to go back out in the front. And we're green and we're back racing again. Damage going to chase after the Caparson in the Aston Martin. Let's see how the chase is going to go. Down to 6 tenths is where the gap is. Can he get even a closer gap during this lap here to potentially get an overtake done, or is he going to have to get him in during the pit stops? We'll see what's going to happen. So far, it doesn't look like this rain is going anywhere. It might be staying for the entire race session, but so far so good in the race. Got to give it to the guys. Driving pretty good in the wet. And I think it's going to be an exciting race going on through, even as wet as it is. And we're hoping probably it dries up, maybe coming to the end of the session, we'll get a bit faster with the racing. But yeah, always an interesting race here at Japan with a bit of rain in the mix. So we're happy to see that as well. Rafael there, I think, getting a bit racy with the Aston Martin. Fury in front of him. Fury under so much pressure right now to keep that position. He was trying to chase after the McLaren in front of him. Now under pressure from the Red Bull. Can he keep the position for P5? Rafael not looking to make that happen. He wants to get ahead. He wants a better position here. Wants to try and get his car maybe onto a podium position if he can. Fury going to be on the move for this, even if it's a wet track. Not sure how well suited this Red Bull is to it, or how good the setup is for it. We'll see how it happens, and if he can get the overtake done. Looks like he's falling back just a bit. He was down to a 10 where the gap was. Gonna probably chase him into turn 1 on the next lap upcoming here. Let's see if that does him any good. Of course, the McLaren of Cherno behind him as well. Has to be so careful about this. Gaps are still very close, as we can see right now. Comparison and damage out front separated by just under half a second, and it's a pretty close gap. Comparison, of course, doing a pretty good job of keeping that lead. Damage doing an excellent job keeping up the lead, and looks like he's broken the gap down. Comparison might have made a mistake here. I think that's definitely what happened, as the Ferrari is all over the back of that Aston Martin right now, trying to get around, and so difficult through sector 1, through the S's as they went there. Very difficult to keep that car as stable as you can, especially in the wet, and try to get an overtake moved on at the same time. Gap is backed up with half a second. The Ferrari driver did his best to try to make that overtake, but unfortunately gap just went away from him. Comparison, I think he made maybe a slight error with the car. Maybe he lost the car for a second, which enabled damage there to break the gap down so quickly. So it's still going again. And of course, if you're looking at the gaps, we have Aquila chasing after the Aston Martin in front of him. It's a 14 gap. Let's see what's going to happen. Leon putting him under a bit of pressure. I think he just lost a bit of time on that there. Leon falling back by about 5/10 at the moment. So we'll see how the rest of the race goes. Noah here in P3, chasing after the top 2 still. I think he's just trying to keep his head down here and just follow on with damage and see what can happen further on in this race. As we mentioned, guys, it's a 27 lap race. There's going to be no DRS, of course. It's a wet track. We're running on intermediates. And it might just be the case for the entire race unless we start to see this drizzle or the light rain that we have start to go away and the track actually starts to dry out. Then that turnover point, of course, is what's going to be most interesting. This is why I love wet races that transition to dry. The turnover point getting onto the dry tires is going to be so interesting. Who's going to be doing it at the right time? And who's, of course, is going to make the mistake of going a lap in too late or a lap too early. It's going to cost them a heck of a lot in this race. We'll see what's going to happen though. But out in front, Damage still, of course, trying to get back to lead. He's down to 6/10 is where the gap is towards Comparison in the lead right now. We got a bit of an issue on the starting on the main straight. Is that Chico there at the World? Yep, it was. I think the Ferrari had a bit of an issue there on the starting grid. I'm not sure what happened on the main straight down coming through. Maybe he had a bit of a spin or something, but anyway, he's back going again. We're on board with the McLaren of Casper right now. They're on in P4 at the moment, being chased by the Red Bull of Rafael, who is, of course, ahead of Fury now. Fury down to 6, so he's lost that battle with the Red Bull and lost the position there. Let's see if he's going to keep that position that he currently has, or anything's going to change with that as he get on through. Rafael, of course, trying to get back up another position if he can. The McLaren now going to feel a bit of pressure from the Red Bull driver. Let's see how it works out. The Red Bull, of course, trying to take a bit of a different line. And is this going to work? He's closed the gap towards Casper, who's now under severe pressure, of course, trying to keep forward position. The Red Bull trying to get onto a podium position if he can. That's going to put no under pressure in just a bit if he's able to get this overtake done first. Rafael gets the fastest lap, switches back to Fury now, who's currently running in 6th, trying to close this gap on the Red Bull. He's 1.6 seconds behind. Let's see how this goes on through. We've had just a few pit stops in this race so far, and the Red Bull trying to find a gap to get around here. Not able to do this yet. I think Aquila and Cherno having a bit of a bad long in the back there for P7. Might have just settled back there for Aquila, holding on to 7th. Danko now gets the fastest lap there for Red Bull. He's running 12th, of course, on some fresher intermediate tires. Now, interestingly enough, it does look like we might be switching to dry tires at some point in the race, because I've seen the drizzle has definitely stopped here. We're not seeing any more drizzles. We're on board the Red Bull of Rafael right now. We're gonna have a look as it goes on the inside of the McLaren. Tries to get back on power as early as he can. He's gonna try to go side by side with him. Is he gonna make it? No, he's not. Gonna try to hold it on true. There is a gap there to go with, but he needs to be very, very careful about this, attempting that move. He's trying to just... Oh, and the McLaren goes wide. Leaves enough room for the Red Bull to get ahead here. That is Rafael up into P4. Casper going wide, costing him a position. He's down to 5th. Fury gonna be chasing after him to put him under better pressure if he can. That's where the chase is gonna be now. Can the McLaren get back to position? He's only 2/10 behind the Red Bull. Hasn't lost too much time, but still has lost a position, which is of course not gonna be he's not be too happy about that. Down with Leon here. What's going on with him? Trying to get side by side with the next McLaren on track. That's Charno there. It's of course a battle for P8. As they're gonna go back onto the main straight here, heading into the next lap. Let's see how that battle is gonna progress on through. Trying to use a bit of slipstream advantage if he can. The track is starting to dry out right now. We can see the race line a bit drier than the rest of the track. We got the Alfa Romeo trying to go around the outside of the McLaren right now. McLaren on the inside might have a bit more of an advantage here as he tries to push the Alfa Romeo just a bit windier. Leon trying to hold on through, goes off track, comes back on. It's a bit of contact with both cars going on through. No damage sustained as yet, but this could end badly. There goes the McLaren. He holds the position out ahead, but an interesting battle between the two of them. Even if it's just for P8, but still trying to work their way up the field, and McLaren holds that through. Gonna continue on with that. We're going back to Rafael there in P4 as he chases after Noah now. He's up to 4th. Got past the McLaren of Casper. And there, a bit of contact between him and the Alfa Romeo of Noah has caused a bit of an incident there, which might be looked at the stewards at the end of the session. We'll see what's going to happen with that. But Rafael there, he's up to P3. Might be classified as a racing incident, maybe. We're not entirely sure, but just an incident that potentially could be looked at if it reported to the stewards by one of the drivers there, which I'm suspecting Noah might have a bit of attention to report that if he feels that was a bit forced by the Red Bull. We'll see what happens with that situation coming next week. But Rafael is up to 3rd onto a podium position here, so gotta say he's doing pretty well. Worked his way through the field. Hopefully doesn't get a penalty for that incident there with the Alfa Romeo, because Noah is down to 6th. Was running 3rd, fighting for the 3rd. I'll the Red Bull now down to 6th position. Bit of contact with him. Let's see what happens now. Fury in 4th, Casper 5th, Noah 6th, Aquila 7th, Shrano in 8th, Leon in 9th, Ozia 4 in 10, Jesler 11, Danko in 12, Chico in 13. Leading the race is still Caparson against Damage there in 2nd, and it's a half a second gap between Damage and Rafael. So the Red Bull trying to work his way up to the lead of this race, maybe is what he's trying to do here, because he's now closing the gap towards the Ferrari. You can see the Ferrari definitely under pressure right now. Doesn't just be worried about getting past Caparson. He has to be worried about keeping his Red Bull at bay right now, because Rafael is closing that gap. He's down to 3/10. I think he's just going to continue closing it. And of course, we're getting to that turnover point very, very soon. We saw the rain has stopped. And the track, the racing line is starting to get a bit dry. You can see the standing water on track is just on the point on track where the guys are not racing. So the racing line getting a bit dry. Definitely will push for them to do the transition over to the dry tires at some point soon. They're going to have to determine the grip level of these tires and how much longer they can last on them before they actually have to switch over to the dry compound tires. So we're going to leave tires on the screen and see when these guys decide to do it. And we're getting to the point very soon here where they would have had to take a pit stop on these intermediates, so a new set of intermediates, even if it continued raining. So I think it's happening just around the right time. So they're going to time this very well to see just push these intermediates as much as they can to the point where they need to transition over to the dry tires and just make one single pit stop and do it, rather than switch on another set of intermediates, then switch on to a set of soft, or a set of hards, or a set of mediums. So I think that's going to be the strategy going through. quite sure they're going to try to push it a lap extra than they need to on these intermediates. We got Noah and Leon are into the pits right now. 9 laps done on intermediate tires. Let's see what the strategies be. And there goes Noah onto the hards. Where's Leon's going to be? Is he going to transition to the mediums? Here he goes onto the hards too. It's going to be a push to the end of the race on the hard tires for those two. We're going to switch to them and see when they get out on track. How much grip do they have on track as they get out here? There goes Noah. I'm trying to get on board with him right now to have a look how much grip he has, and still on an outlap here on the pit lane. So gotta give him some time to get these tires up to temperature, of course, and it's gonna be a bit difficult. As our Red Bull just went past him there. He's trying to keep the car as stable as he can. So is it a bit too early to do the transition here that Noah and Leon just did? Let's see what the case is gonna be, because he's moving very slow. We got, I think, was Triple Wave jealous for a second, I think. We're green, we're still racing here. Let's see what the situation is going to be. I'm thinking we maybe needed a lap or two more before doing the transition to the dry tires there, because as you can see, the rest of the grid happened on the stop. DRS is not even going to be enabled at the moment from race control with what's happening. There's Leon on track. Leon lost the entire front wing, so the Alfa Romeo team might have made the wrong call here. So I think we have a full safety car there. Is it a VSC? What's happening on track right now? Trying to see what the situation is. I'm not close enough to one of these signs to actually see what's happening on track. But the Triple Wave yellows, it's either a VSC or a full safety car right now. We're trying to have a look for at the moment. Looks like it might be a full safety car. If it's a full safety car, definitely going to trigger a lot of pit stops for these guys getting in the pit lane and just doing and getting onto dry tires here. Of course, our race leaders have stayed out. I think a few more cars getting into the pit lane right now who are close to it, and they're doing their pit stops. Their race leaders are behind the safety car and coming. So let's see what the strategy change is going to be here. Are they going to be able to do their pit stops at this point in the race? It's lap 11 of 27, and it is drying out on track. So it will serve them well, I believe, to just get in the pits, do the pit stop right now, get it to the dry tires, get up the temperature under the safety car, and then get back racing, and we should be good to go at that point, especially with the track drying out so quickly. So I think a person might even think about doing a pit stop at this point here. We'll see what the case is going to be. Being very, very close to that safety car, they might want to be careful for that. Alright, so getting back around to the pit lane entry here, let's have a look. Does the race leader go in, or does he stay out? And looks like he is going to stay out. Still a bit of standing water on track. As you can see him pulling to the right, trying to keep into that there, trying to keep those temperature on the tires, trying to make sure that they don't just burn out quickly on him. As he make sure they have some standing water to display still, if they're going to keep running on the intermediates for now at least. He might come around the next lap though and do the pit stop there. And of course we know Damage, Rafael, Fury, Aquila, and Easy F1, they're all going to be watching. Easy F1 is in the pits there. So up to Aquila, they're going to be watching on comparison out in front to see when he does a pit stop, they're going to follow him into the pits. And I believe on this upcoming lap here is where he's going to do his pit stop and get back out on track. I'm just suggesting that's what's going to be happening. Let's see if that's going to be the case or not. I think he felt that it maybe needed one more lap before doing a switch over to the full dry tires there. And Chico getting a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. Okay, so I'm assuming after this lap we should be able to get back racing into lap 14. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the top 6 cars, or top 5 cars done a pit stop and switch to the dry tires as yet. They're still going to continue on to the intermediates, but hopefully our track is still wet enough for the point where they can still run on these intermediates. We're on lap 13 of 27, of course. This is the halfway point of the race right now. The rest of the grid has already switched to the dry tires. Their top 6 cars are still on the intermediates. Aquila did a pit stop and he went back to the intermediates there. Interestingly enough, to see that happen, I think Easy F1, he went back to the intermediate tires as well. I think these guys are finding enough grip on track to have these intermediates still run for the race. So the question is the second half of the grid making a mistake going on to the dry tires here? Let's have a look. We're trying to have a look at that right now. It's an 8.1 second gap, and Noah trying to catch up to Aquila right now. So how much grip are they having on these dry tires? The track is still a bit wet there, as we can see. There is still a bit of standing water on track. Maybe just not as much as you'd expect, but it's still enough to create some problems with the dry tires, and it's still enough to have the intermediates run on track. So I think we're still running a pretty exciting race. It's going to be an interesting one to see how this finishes, because we're going to see top half of the grid on the intermediates, the second half of the grid on the dry tires. Chico has gone back into the pit lane, I believe, and switched back to the intermediates. The safety car is coming in at the end of this lap. We're about to get back racing. So let's see how the restart is going to go on this one. We're gonna keep it on the Ferrari right now. And the Aston Martin, of course, has gone for it. It's an 8-10 gap between the two of them. Rafael coming very, very close behind. Damage here right about now. It's going to try to take it into turn one, maybe, or just going to keep it on the race line as they come around that parabolica. Looks like he keeps it on the race line behind the Ferrari going on through. Fury just behind of that in P4. Easy F1 there running 5th. Aquila running 6th right now. The rest of the grid following on through on the hard tires. On the mediums and the hard. Let's see how the strategy goes with the dry tires, though. It's a bit of a gap between most of them, as far as you can see. Out in front, it's still quite exciting in terms of racing between these guys running on the intermediates here. I see the Red Bull still pretty close off towards a Ferrari. Dami trying to keep himself at least close to half a second between him and Caparson. Caparson still leading this race. He took that lead away from Dami before the end of lap 1, and he's kept that lead up to this point in the race. So gotta say, gotta give it to him in terms of his racing here on a wet track. Damage, of course, having some problems in terms of getting back ahead of the Aston Martin driver. So he might have to settle for second place in this race unless he can force Caparson into a penalty before the race comes to an end. It's lap 14 of 27 here for the Japanese Grand Prix. We started off with a wet session. The rain is gone. The track is still wet. We got half of the grid on intermediates, half of the grid on dry tires. It's going to be an interesting finish to see how the strategy works here. But it's working pretty well for these guys on the intermediates right now as they race each other through into lap 15. We're about to go here right now. Caparson leads against Damager second, Rafael third, Fury fourth, Easy F1 fifth, Aquila in 6th, Noah in 7th is where we start with the dry tires. Is 7.5 seconds behind Aquila there in the Alpine. Let's see if that gap is going to extend. It looks like it's extending down to 8.3 seconds right now. These guys on the intermediates are flying through the track. Out in front, Damage down under a half a second between him and Caparson for that lead. He's going through the SS of Sector 1 right now on lap 15 of 27 of this Japanese Grand Prix. He's on the chase right now for that position. Rafael in third, trying to get it to second place, of course, followed by Fury. Still a pretty close gap, half a second between him and the Red Bull. And Aquila follows on behind. Easy F1, he's trying to keep himself within a second, of course, of Aquila, his teammate there, and trying to follow on through as well. So the Alpine driver is doing pretty well. 5th and 6th in the grid right now. Aston Martin not too bad, got leading the race and one running P4, so doing pretty well in that case there. Caparson gonna try to extend that lead if he can. He's extended by at least 2/10, and that's worth something at this point in the session. Damage is definitely trying to keep up, but having some problems. He has to be worried about that Red Bull of Rafael who's chasing after him. It's such a close gap. It's going and coming, but it's getting dangerously close. Don't be down to about just under 3/10 right now, and needs to be a bit more concerned about it if that gap is closer than what he has towards the Aston Martin in front of him. He's in for some trouble in this race session. He definitely doesn't want to be losing second place. He's trying to get back into the lead where he qualified and started on the track. Yes, not the best of run on the opening lap. He did get off the line pretty well compared to the Aston Martin, but still, Caparson got him before the end of that lap. Let's see how they're going to be on through. Looks like Damage is going into the pit lane. A bit of a lock up there as well. Trying to break in time. Does he get a penalty? No, he does not. Thought he might have been going a bit too fast there, but he got it pretty well. So he's in the pit lane. Fury is in. Raphael is in. They're going to be switching to the mediums. This is the point where they're switching onto the dry tires now. I guess I think the track is now dry enough to make that transition. There's time for them to do it. The top 3 drivers left on the intermediates here. Caparson, our race leader, Aquila, and EasyF1, the 2 Alpine drivers, 2nd and 3rd on the grid. Are they right now? Yep, they are. As they continue on through, Aquila is within a second, of course, of the race leader. His teammate running 1.5 seconds behind him. Noah there is who did a stop before onto the mediums. He's now up into P4. He was previously running 3rd in this race from the start where he started, and had a bit of an incident with a Red Bull of Raphael earlier on that caused him to lose the car for a second. Lost about 3 positions. He's now back up in a potential podium position fight here against ECF1. It's a 13-15 second gap actually. He could potentially get back. Maybe even into 2nd place now when Aquila and ECF1 take a pit stop here. We'll see what the situation is going to be. It's going to be a close one. He could even get into the lead of this race. Damage, of course, going to be running 2nd if that does happen. Caparson there, we're going to have to think this through. When is he going to do this pit stop? We have, is that a full safety car? This is going to change things if that is the situation here. I think it's a full safety car. And I think this is what the Aston Martin driver needed at this point in the session. The track is definitely drying out very, very quickly right now. Definitely ready for those dry tires. And it's a full safety car when the Aston Martin needs to take a pit stop. And he's going to have a free pit stop here. This is going to be insane. This is actually going to help Aquila, EasyF1, and Caparson in their pit stops. It's going to save them so much time. These 3 might be coming back out in the positions that they currently are. Let's see what the gap is going to be when they get back out on track. The track is definitely dried out now, and it's ready for this. Caparson looking at potentially getting back into the lead after he does a pit stop. He's going on to the mediums, going to push up for the final 10 laps on those mediums as we're on lap 17 or 27. Let's see who gets past him. Looks like Noah gets past. He's taking the lead of the Grand Prix now. Bulls is going to get past. Damage coming behind of that. Is he going to get past? He's coming through. And looks like the Aston Martin out on track. He's going to be out into 2nd place. Raphael up into 3rd. Caparson is down to 4th on the grid right now. After that late pit stop onto the mediums, he's down to 4th. Noah takes away the lead of the Grand Prix. Interesting enough, Damage back into 2nd place and fighting for the lead once again. Raphael now running 3rd. Caparson running 4th in the Aston Martin. Previous race leader led this race for 16 laps. And he's now down to 4th on the grid. He's gonna on fresh mediums, of course. We're gonna have to fight his way past Raphael, Damage, and Noah to get back the lead. And of course, it's behind a safety car. We're about to get back. We started pretty soon. And Raphael, Damage, they're both on very fresh mediums as well. No, his tires are really not at all. And going to the end of the race, they're gonna make it quite well. So he's gonna have a decent grip. So I want to see what the strategy play is going to be with this one here. Aquila and Fury running 5th and 6th, Casper in 7, EasyF1 in 8, Danko 9, Jesler 10th, and Kiko 11th. And so sure no Leon and Dutch Roger, of course, out of the race session, unfortunately. And we're hoping to get back racing at the end of this lap here. So we're still going to run one more lap on the safety car before we get this race back on the way. But if you see the track, of course, it's fully dry now. So of course we're going to be having some DRS advantage coming into the play soon once the race gets back on the way. Of course, just after that, We'll see how well it goes with the rest of the grid. As I said, we love it when it's a wet and dry race, and the also transition through. Makes it a bit interesting. You could even make the best drivers not finish anywhere near the podium. So we'll see how this is going to go. Noah leads the Grand Prix against Damage, who kept it for a second. Raphael in third, Caparson fourth, Aquila fifth, Fury sixth, Easy F1 7. And we'll see how they get back as the race will get back restarted, hopefully at the end of this current lap. The only track shaped as a figure of 8 here, the Suzuka circuit. An interesting one. Always love a lovely race here at Japan. And I always enjoy streaming these races because a lot does happen. And even a lot of unexpected things can happen, especially down at the end of a race session like this one. So we'll see what's going to change down when they find a few laps of this race. But yeah, this has gone pretty interesting so far, I gotta say. 3 drivers out, 11 drivers remain, of course, so I gotta say not too bad with that. Also, a bit of contact between the top two as they're about to get back restarted here in this Japanese Grand Prix. Noah, of course, leads into turn 1 of lap 19. We got Damage running second. Got Raphael running such a close start, trying to get side by side with that Ferrari. Does he do it? No, he keeps him on the race lane. Caparson gets a close third here. Aquila very close off in 5th, and then Fury there in 6th as well. A 10th between Fury and Aquila down in the back here, trying to keep an eye on these two out in front. Damage and Raphael in the 10 between the two of them as they get back on racing here. Noah trying to keep as close as far away as he can from Damage, but Damage keeping so close behind him, just about 2/10. Raphael and Damage, I think, trying to get side by side here. The Ferrari trying to hold off second place in this race, and it's getting a bit challenging for him here with the Red Bull so close up behind. Then, of course, Caparson and Aquila coming down behind of that, not too far off with Fury and Easy F1 as well. I think Fury is a bit closer than expected there as Easy F1 loses a position to the Red Bull at the back there. Got this Red Bull, Raphael, and I think Damage trying to go side by side once again here. They think the Ferrari holds it on through out in second place. It's lap 19 of 27 for the Japanese Grand Prix. It's gonna get a bit more tight going down to the end of this final few laps in this race. We'll see how well it's gonna go. So Raphael's trying to keep as close of a gap as he can towards Damage as we get into lap 20 of 27 here in Japan. That fastest lap being switched around quite a bit there as they get on through. Looks like Damage holds it for the moment, which of course is not going to be good news for our race leader Noah there, who's holding on to the lead out front quite well, but is going to be under a bit of pressure with the Ferrari having a bit of a better pace on track. He was able to hold off Noah for quite a long time in the race itself, as Noah was running third, he was running second. But now it's all the way around. Let's see what's going to happen. And it's, of course, fighting for the race lead at this point. The Red Bull, Raphael, keeping as close as he can. Caparson in fourth, trying to close in his gap. Fury in 6th place. He's trying to gain some positions here. Having some trouble getting a gap, I believe, down in the back here. Jesler and Easy F1 having a bit of a fight as well. Let's see how close this gets at the end of the race. I'll switch on board with someone here. Let's go with Raphael at the moment. It's a 310 gap towards Damage in front of him. He's keeping his car as close as he can, trying to keep it on the racing line, trying not to go too wide, not to take any penalties here. We only have one driver currently with a penalty on their track, and I think that's Chico there. Was it for speeding in the pit lane? It might have been, or was it track limits? I believe most likely what it was for. Person, of course, trying to keep up with these few out in front. We see a train of cars going all the way to the Red Bull of Danko there for P7. And this, of course, starts from the race leader coming on through. Noah getting the fastest lap out front. Good news for him because DRS is now online. He needs to extend that gap and keep damage out of a second range here. So we got a DRS train going all the way back towards Danko there, a P7. Top 6-7 cars. Well, second to 7th, I'll say, having DRS advantage. The rest of the Noah not going to have any DRS advantage at this point here, as he is the one leading, of course. Let's switch it on back through. Let's have a look at Danko in the Red Bull, see how it's going for him in the back. Casper with a 3-second penalty, not going to be too well in terms of finishing positions there. We'll see how that works out through. 310 gap here with the Red Bull, and we think we got another safety car, do we? Or is it a virtual safety car? We're trying to have a look right now. I think it might be a virtual safety car for this one. Oh yeah, I think it is an actual safety car. As I'm seeing the safety car getting out on track there in sector 1, if you can't see that. Yellow circle that's getting out. Yep, it is a full safety car, guys, unfortunately. Another safety car in the race is lap 21 of 27 for the Japanese Grand Prix. As we get on the way with this, and we're going to have to follow under the safety car for a few laps. Something's happened on track that's caused our safety car to come out. We're not entirely sure what it was. I think Damage was just getting prepared in case his race leader Noah took a pit stop there to go onto the soft tires to finish off the final few laps of this race. We should still have a few racing laps left here when the safety car goes in, and it's going to be quite interesting to see how that's going to work out. The gaps, of course, all going to be closed down back again to a few tenths between each other before the race gets back on the way. Okay, so just waiting for this safety car, of course, to be over. We can see Jessler and Aquila, they took a stop there, going onto the soft tires, of course, to finish off the last 5 laps of the Japanese Grand Prix. Noah currently leading this race. Got Damage currently still running second place. Raphael, of course, third. Caparson in fourth. Fury fifth. And Danko 6. Casper in 7. Easy F1 in 8. Jessler now 9th. Aquila now 10th. Chico in 11. What is the penalty for the two of them? It's only 3 and 9 seconds. Well, I shouldn't say just 9 seconds. It is 9 seconds. And that's quite a bit. But he's running P11. So either way, that's going to be keeping him there. As it is there right now. Why did I put it on stop? Bring back the tires. So we can see what the tire situation is as we go to the final few laps of this race, of course. So Noah, of course, I think he started third in this race is where he did. And he skipped that third for quite a bit. Damage started in the lead. Caparson started second. Caparson and Damage switched positions. before the end of the lap. Once the Caparson took over the lead of the Grand Prix, Damage took second, Noah's running third, and that was for about 16 laps until things started to change in the race. Of course, we started to try out, and that sort of situation happened. And then Caparson, of course, taking a later stop in the race to go into the mediums, which just caused him to drop down to P4. The rest of the grid early off, and they've gained some positions. Noah there took an earlier pit stop, and he was able to get into the lead of the Grand Prix, and is on for a potential pole position finish here at Japan if he can keep this true for another few laps. And under a safety car right now, we should probably get back racing maybe into lap 25 or into lap 24. Either way, we'll see what the case is going to be, but it's looking quite advantageous for him, even though 12 laps on those mediums. And his nemesis at the moment, Damage there running second, is 7 laps only on his medium, so close enough to have, but not so much. We'll see how it works out, but just a bit more life on a Ferrari's tire, even though running behind the Alfa Romeo. So I want to see if Noah can hold off that lead, and he's been driving pretty well in the race, I gotta say, pretty consistent. So I think he might just be able to hold off the lead against Damage going down to the end of this race, as we're already going to be going into lap 24 here, and I believe we're not going back. We are going back racing into lap 24. So maybe Noah was hoping for one more lap under the safety car just to keep things a bit more interesting for him. But either way, we're about to get back racing here into lap 24, 27 of this Grand Prix. And that's going to give us a few more laps of racing before we're able to close it off. We're going back on board with Damage. Let's see when they decide to go here. Damage, of course, going to try to close the gap towards the Alfa Romeo before he gets back going. And he's going to get back going right now as they get back onto the main straight. It's no overtaking until they get across the line there. And it's already an 8-10 gap between Noah and Damage as they're into lap 24 or 27 right now. Let's see how the rest of the race continues on through. Rafael in the Red Bull, he's trying to keep a close gap towards that Ferrari. Wants to get an overtake done, wants to get up into second place, potentially up into the lead if he can. But that's going to be quite a long way to go, especially with a few laps remaining here in the session. And the racing level so close, so competitive between these drivers here for WOR PS Tier 2. It's definitely been an interesting session. So let's see where they finish off as they go. Final 11 drivers remaining in the session. Of course, Chico quite a way back there. Probably about down by about over 2 minutes 17 seconds. I think because of the amount of pit stops maybe he took. Either way, we're keeping with the grid out in front. Aquila getting past. Just I believe they're on the soft tires. Is working pretty well. There goes the Mercedes on things. They're trying to get back ahead. Then get back to position. So just holding on to P8. Aquila holding on to P7. They're both on the soft tires and running here. Casper 2/10 behind them. He's coming off for a potential overtake if he can there. There goes the McLaren pushing the Mercedes a bit off track there. That definitely might be an investigation after this race here. It look a bit forced. We'll see what the stewards have to say about it when this depends if the Mercedes reports that. We'll see what the case is going to be. It's so close between the two of them. They're side by side fighting for positions here. This is for P8 as the McLaren takes the lead on that battle there and continues on. Getting back onto the main straight there. Can the Mercedes keep up? It's down to 4/10 now. He's lost a bit of time there and try to follow on through. The Alpine of EZF1 now challenging him on the main straight. He gets past. He's up in the 9th place. Hessler has lost 2 positions here. He's down to 10th and I'm not going to be too happy about it. They'll continue on through that. Let's see how it follows on through. Danko in the Red Bull chasing after the Aston Martin. Now Fury running behind his teammate Caparson. 4th and 5th for the Aston Martin drivers right now. The Red Bull drivers running 3rd and 6th. One on the podium here, so not too bad with that. Got a Alfa Romeo leading this race. A Ferrari running 2nd. And the other Ferrari, I think, running 11 there. It is. About a 5-10 gap right now between Danko and Fury. Trying to keep your race. Let's go back up to the next Red Bull though. That's Rafael chasing after Damage. It's a 3-10 gap between them. I'm going to switch it on board for a second here. It's lap 25 or 27 by the way, guys. Coming down to the end of the Grand Prix. Let's see what they have to say on the final few laps here. Who's going to be keeping their positions? Who's going to be losing positions? And who's going to be gaining? Who's going to finish on pole? Can Noah continue for another 2.5 laps to finish his race and win the Japanese Grand Prix? It might just be happening for him. As far as I know, he started third on the grid and he's looking at a potential pole position finish here. Bit of extra braking from Rafael there, trying to keep it as close to that Ferrari as he can. The Ferrari trying to keep as close as the Alfa Romeo as he can. And we're going to follow on the top 3. DRS is coming online back again after that safety car incident. He's back online for the final 2 laps of the Japanese Grand Prix. the 310 gap between Noah and Damage. Of course, same situation between Damage and Raphael. Of course, the rest of it follow on through Danko, Bicham, Fury buying about 2 tenths. It's such a close gap, and it's going to be exciting racing all the way down to the final lap, or to the finish line, I would say, on lap 27 here. I was already halfway through lap 26 of 27. You see Raphael, of course, closing his gap on that Ferrari, but is it close enough to attempt an overtake? And is it going to be close enough in the final lap to attempt an overtake here? Caparson, of course, trying to keep up with the rest of the grid here. He's running P4 right now after leading this race for over 16 laps. He's come to a point where he's lost that lead. And this, of course, comes down to pit stop strategy and a bit of rain in the midst. So always does change things up with a bit of rain on a racetrack, as we just saw happen through this race session here. Raphael trying to close the gap. Such a good job he's doing, breaking down to 3 tenths. He even gets it down to about 2 tenths at some points here, but he's just not close enough to attempt an overtake here. With the racing competitiveness of these guys, as we said before, you got to just be less than a tenth behind the car to even attempt an overtake on track here. I think someone's falling down the order. That's Fury falling down the order there. I think that's happened somewhere in sector 3. And there we go into the final lap here of the Japanese Grand Prix. Noah leads 16 laps on those tires. It's 3 tenths with Damage behind him in the Ferrari. We have a spin there, and that is Noah having a spin. That might have just self-inflicted a wrong turn 1 there. Can't believe that happened to a race leader. He's all the way down to 8. He's trying to get back going. Fury coming behind of him. Looks like he's going to be following on there now, running P8. Led the race after the safety cars up to this point, the final lap, and just lost it. Unfortunately there for Noah, that puts Damage, a Ferrari, back up into the lead of this race now, where he started, of course, and I think he's going to be quite happy about this as he's on for a pole position win here. Let's have a look at position changes if we can quickly, who changed positions, and it looks like Danko and Damage are the only drivers who kept their position from the start. Raphael, of course, gained 6 positions there. Might be looking at driver of the day against ECF1. We'll see what the case is going to be as they get a true penalty situation as it is there. Let's bring that online and have a look at it as we're about to enter into the final sector here on lap 27. The Red Bull, of course, chasing after that Ferrari. Doesn't look like it's going to be an overtake happening, though, on the final sector. But never know, things could change, as we saw happen with Noah there on into the final lap around turn 1. But I think it's going to be Damage coming across here right now on the main straight, and he crosses the line right where he started on the grid. P1 to finish on pole here and win the Japanese Grand Prix. Not a bad finish for Damage in the Ferrari. It was quite a battle on track to even get that car back to the position there. Raphael gets across the line 6 positions ahead of where he started to finish second on the podium. Caparson, who started second, has finished third on the grid. Aquila finishing 4th, ECF1 5th, Casper in 6th, Jessler 7th. Noah almost had a race win here, and Fury just behind of him. We'll have back one more last look at the preliminary results before the session comes out to an end here, guys. But yeah, that was definitely an exciting race session. Always interesting with a bit of rain in the midst. ECF1 driver of the day for the session. Okay, so here we go. The race results here for the Japanese Grand Prix with WOR PS Tier 2 Damage taking pole position here and the fastest lap. Raphael finishing second on the podium. Caparson takes third place on the podium. Aquila finishes 4th. EZF1 finishes 5th and gets driver of the day. Casper finishing 6th. Jessler finishing 7th. Noah finishes a disappointing 3rd. Fury finishing 9th. Danko 10th. Chico 11th. And unfortunately, Shono, Leon, Dutch, Roger were not able to finish the race session. But that is it there, guys, for the Japanese Grand Prix round 12 of the current season 13 here with World Online Racing PS Tier 2. So that was quite an interesting session. Thank you guys for joining us here. Hope you guys enjoyed the commentary. I'll see you guys again hopefully next week for round 13. So thank you guys for joining on the session. I think that's gonna be it. We're gonna end up the stream just right there.